Welcome, everyone, to the Chicago Football Connection podcast. We are talking Bears preseason week 1 today. Probably also get a little bit into the Bears Colts joint practices and then a preview kind of week 2 of the preseason. But a lot to talk about after the first week of the preseason. It's always good to have Bears football back. Always good to see the Bears play a team that's not the Bears. So no more practicing. We're
Yep.
actually seeing in-game action. So I think the best place to start is the screen pass heard around the world.
The
It seemed
very
like everyone
beginning.
was the very beginning. The thing everyone was talking about, the screen
Yeah.
pass to I just want to get your like instant reaction. Like, what was your thought on that screen pass to DJ Moore they took for 60 something
Dude,
yards for a touchdown? How
it's
were
so
you feeling
funny.
at that
I
moment?
literally I love preseason games. Like I do get
Mm-hmm.
excited for them and it feels like the season comes back when they come back. But like
For sure.
legit the first team on defense and on offense. The first team on defense I feel less like this about, but the first team offense, as exciting as it is to get them out there, like it really doesn't mean much to me. And I had like a big like golf tournament that day. Like it was like the local like Muni had like this really fun like scramble tournament. So I was just like watching on my phone and I saw the highlight of the scramble pass. My snap reaction was, oh nice. But it was like,
Yeah.
I guess since I've gone back and watched it, it was blocked well, and there are things to be happy about. But I honestly was like, I didn't think it was a great ball from Justin, and it was like he kind
Yeah.
of went completely untouched, which again, is good. But like I was like, oh, cool. Like,
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely like really fun to watch. Like in the moment, I was like, hell yeah, like this is awesome. DJ Moore is so good.
yeah.
Blah blah blah. But then like once it was over,
Yeah.
I was like, well, both of them, DJ Moore, Khalil Herbert, both those like long plays. But I was like, this is awesome. And then right after it was over, I was like, I kind of wish I would have they like put a drive together, like
I know.
just because
And
that's what preseason's for. Preseason's to like get in a rhythm. So it's like if that was in a regular season game, that'd be perfect, best case scenario. But preseason, you want to kind of
yeah.
get in a roll, move down the field. I'm not going to complain too much about two long touchdown passes, but
Well,
it did kind of hurt the preseason. What I look for in preseason, which is seeing how guys are playing, and I feel like we didn't get a good view of that for the offense because they scored on two
three
long
three for three.
touchdowns.
Three for
Yeah,
three,
three for
air
three.
yards, probably 10. And the other thing
Yeah.
is when I saw the stat line and then I saw the highlights, because again, I couldn't watch it live. When I saw the stat line, I saw the highlights, I knew this conversation was coming that was going to blow up.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't do anything, and it was like I haven't said anything on it, but like I knew that the people saying he didn't do shit were right. He didn't do shit,
Yeah.
but it's also
Yeah.
like, first preseason game, our quarterback went 3 for 3 for 2 touchdowns and 130 yards, and that's not untrue either. There
Right.
was never going to be that nuance. It was going to be like, you know what, fuck you, and no, no, no.
Yeah, right. It turned into a Justin Fields debate where it should not have been a Justin Fields debate.
Yeah.
Like
If anything, it
Justin
did look
Fields,
good.
Justin Fields did nothing wrong. I mean, on the one to clear Herbert, at least he made that guy miss in the backfield. So like a lot, not every quarterback's going to make that play,
Yep.
but in terms of actually throwing the football, yeah, he really didn't do much. But then Twitter just got into it and started going crazy. All the Vikings and Lions fans were saying Justin Fields sucks. All the Bears fans were saying he's the greatest quarterback of all
I
time. And it's
know.
like, okay, can we just like meet in the middle? It's preseason. Like let's just have some
Seriously.
fun.
It feels like preseason is like these games are amazing for the guys like fighting for roster spots and fighting for like starting
Mhm.
spots. Like, it was worth watching every Tyreek Stevenson
Yep.
snap. It was worth watching every Carter snap. Like the right guard. He was impressive.
Yeah.
And there are people, but like for the people that are battling for spots and the people that are, battling for starting spots, these reps are important and were probably more important to watch. But like come Sunday week 1, your starting quarterback and starting receiver are going to be Justin Fields and DJ Moore. And like,
Right.
it was entirely unimpressive like in the execution value on at least the Justin Fields side. To be fair, it actually was like a pretty good rep from DJ Moore. But it was
Mhm.
like, the offense went out and did what they needed to. The running game looked good. The execution from everyone was, where it should be. There was no penalties. Like, moved the ball for 2 touchdowns. It was fine. And then the
Right.
people, honestly, that were worth watching in the preseason, I thought did a really, really good job. I was really impressed by the people I wanted to be impressed with, I suppose.
Yep, I think that's a good way to put it. And like the guys who we know are going to be starters and key pieces of this team got 7 snaps. So there's
Yeah.
not a whole lot you can gather from that. Yeah, Darnell Wright Braxton Jones, Justin Fields, DJ Moore, they looked good in 7 snaps, but
Yeah.
I'm not ready to say that Darnell Wright's going to be an all-pro right tackle because of 7 snaps.
Yep.
I'm not ready to say that Braxton Jones' issues are fixed because of 7 snaps. So we really won't know that until week 1, kind of what the outlook there, because I don't think they're going to get a lot of snaps in week 2 and 3 either, but maybe they'll get a few more in week 2. Maybe we can get 3 drives, get up to 15, 20 snaps maybe. But yeah, the guys that I was excited to watch, I think a lot of those guys did really well. You mentioned Tyreek Stevenson.
Yep.
Definitely want to talk about him. I thought he looked like he belonged. He just looked like he belonged. It wasn't perfect, but he was physical, made tackles, had a pass breakup, was good in coverage.
Yep.
Everything you want to see. Preseason week 1 from a rookie second round pick. I don't think it could have gone much better than that.
Yep.
But if we're sticking on the offense, I do want to highlight Ja'Tyre Carter because he played really well. Number 69, the right guard in the video here. I think most of the offensive line played well, but he is a guy who got actually a lot of snaps. He was close to like 40 snaps, so it was not a small sample size, and he played extremely well. Was the highest graded Bear according to PFF. Not offensive lineman, just Bear in
That's
general.
a rep,
So
man. Look at him reach and hold there.
The reach block there. He was getting to the second level.
The second level
pass
one,
protection.
Great space, like the way he matched like the cornerback for stride, and like slowed down and held it. It was like without even really having to touch him, just completely took him out of the play.
Yeah. So everything. I mean, pass protection was good too. Second, like he just moved so well, and he's not going to start. Nate Davis is your starter. Nate Davis was back in practice today. I'm assuming he'll play probably in the week 2 preseason game. But it's just nice to have a guy that you can trust coming off the bench because at one point you're going to have to play a 6th offensive lineman. Tevin Jenkins has had injuries in his career. Cody Whitehair has had injuries in his career. Nate Davis, I'm not entirely sure, but he's injured currently. So you're going to need a 6th guy, and he looks like he belongs. So that was really good to see.
Yeah, and he's got good depth, across the line. He played left tackle in college, so at the very least, if we asked him to play left guard, he'd probably be able to do that switch too. So he's real good depth because, is Lucas Patrick hurt right now?
I believe so. A little banged up. I don't think it's anything serious, but he did not play in week 1. Interesting to see if we'll see him week 2.
Yeah, because you have to wonder if Carter getting this like playtime in Nate Davis's wake is because he's kind of earned it in their eyes, or if just because he's the next man up because of injuries. He seems to have always played well when he's had the chance. And you made a good point last time that like he wasn't practice squatted for a 7th round rookie a couple of years ago. They kept him on the roster all year last year. And like, I bet you must feel some sort of indication that like that was his first really good large sample size since the preseason last year, and he looked great. He looked great, and he looked like all the reasons why you'd keep him on the roster. He's always been an awesome pass protector, and he looked like it, and he looked athletic, got out into space. Like I don't know. I wonder how high the coaching staff is on him. Like I wonder if it is just because Lucas Patrick is hurt, or if Lucas Patrick wasn't hurt, they'd be saying, no, I think we're going to roll with Carter.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to like hear their thoughts. We'll obviously never hear him, but do they view him as just a guy who can be a solid backup, or do they think he can be a starter down the road?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, he definitely has things he can improve on. He was playing mostly against backups, but I rather my players look good against backups than
our backups better look better than your backups.
Exactly. So a lot of good there. Really, the whole offensive line. I don't think there was any offensive lineman who like had issues. I mean, Leatherwood looked okay. He had about 40 snaps as well. He looked pretty good at left guard. Doug Kramer looked a lot better at center this preseason than he did last preseason. Last preseason, I think he only played 1 game, but he looked kind of out of place. So he looked good too. Dieter Eiselen, even Larry Borum had a good one. So the offensive line in general, I think, played really well, which is really nice to see. They had a lot of quick passes, so they protected them, especially in the pass game. But in the run game, they looked great, run blocking pretty much down the line, first and second team. Yep. So that was really good to see.
Who do you think looked good on defense?
A lot of guys like that look good on defense. First guy, I mean, Travis Gibson kind of earned himself a roster spot, I feel like, in this game.
It's crazy to say that, how good he looked and, how much hype he had the year before. But after his performance last year, like, he needed a performance like this.
He did. And it was interesting not only that he played really well, but he was also the first defensive end in the rotation. So once Rasheem Green and Dominic Robinson, those were the two starters. Once they came out, Travis Gibson was the first guy in. He even got in before Terrell Lewis. So it was interesting that he was so low on the depth chart that they released, the first official depth chart they released, but he was still the first D end to come off the bench. Now, two of our defensive ends weren't playing, so I guess technically he would have been the fifth D end. But I find it hard to believe that he's not one of your 4 or 5 best defensive ends. I'm sorry. I mean, I know he had a down year last year, but based off his rookie year, we had like 7 sacks, and guys have down years. He was adjusting to a new defense. I still think he should make this team. There might be a roster crunch there, but man, I still think he's one of the best 4 or 5 defensive ends on this team.
Yeah, and he just flashes so much that you just want to be able to give him playing time. It's kind of like the Velus Jones thing, where it's like, man, what he's capable of makes you almost like try and like forget about the fact that he fumbles every time he touches it, or hey, we kind of gave you an extended look to be our pass rusher last year, Travis Gibson, and you got like no sacks.
Yeah.
So I mean, hopefully he's turned the corner. Like I said, like there he looked, he was showing all the things that you'd want your outside rusher to be. But yeah, like Yannick Ngakoue is going to be probably our starter opposite.
Marcus Walker, probably.
Marcus Walker.
And so you got 2 there, and you got Dominic Robinson,
who I think they probably like more. And then I think Rasheem Green has done it at the NFL level, and he is a proven vet. But Travis Gibson kind of has too. I'd like to see him take a step into at least be that 4 spot. But like even then, Dom Robinson and Travis Gibson should be pushing each other for that 3 spot. That's what the perfect situation would be.
Yeah, I mean, I think those top 3 guys you mentioned locks. Rasheem Green, I think, is pretty much a lock. They signed him this off. I think it was just a 1-year deal, but still, I think so. I really think it comes down to if they keep 5 defensive ends, and then you got Travis Gibson, or like Terrell Lewis played well too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still think I'd give the edge to Gibson if it was me, but
I don't think that Lewis would usurp Gibson just yet, even just because of like familiarity in the building at that point.
Right. And he's been injured. He's been injured a lot. He's got knee issues. Like, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. I mean, they might have even
last year.
What's that?
Do you know how many DNs we kept last year?
When we did our roster preview show, I looked up, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
But guessing it was like 4 or 5.
Yeah, I think honestly 6 would make sense.
Could be 6. I mean, it's the position. I mean, you don't see a lot of special teams value from DNs all the time, but Gibson might be able to provide some special teams value. I don't know. It depends on what you're asking him to do, but I can see 6. Because you're going to keep 4 defensive tackles. So
yeah,
I feel like you're not going to keep 10 defensive linemen. I don't know. Yeah, that's something that's definitely going to be watching. If Gibson gets 8 pressures again this week, then I mean you can't
he looked
not
as good as he did. Yeah.
If he continues to do that, like then I don't see any way you can. Maybe if you do have a roster crunch there, maybe you could trade him at that point. If he keeps dominating the preseason, maybe you can get a day 3 pick for him or something. But at that point, if he keeps dominating, I want to keep him on the team. I don't want to trade him.
Yeah, it does look like they only dressed 4 in week 1.
Okay, so yeah, it could be tough.
That's a tight room, man. There is some vets in there, but he did look good, and that's what we were saying. Like a game like that is kind of what he needed. He definitely has a chance, but it wasn't looking good for a little while.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, just the first step chart. I will say that with the way that their roster is constructed, like DeMarcus Walker and Rasheem Green both have played on the interior on like passing downs.
Yep.
So because they have that flexibility, you might be able to keep another defensive end because Walker can play interior too. So that's just something to keep in mind. But that's definitely something we'll be watching in week 2.
Yeah, I thought the Kyler Gordon was another guy that I was really, really happy with. Even in like the short amount of snaps that he played, he was someone that we kind of like said, hey, we're expecting Jaquan Brisker to like really step up and be great this year. And we would really, really need Kyler Gordon to take a step up if
Mhm.
this defense is going to be good. And it's looked like he has. All the reports coming out of camp is that he looked way more comfortable and like the game has slowed down for him and he's just out there being an athlete. And in his first like kind of real action against other teams, it looked like exactly like that. He was laying the boom. He
Mhm.
was like quick twitch. I think what do they call him, Spider Man? Like he looked good out there.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. The two big hits definitely like come to mind. Yeah, another guy. He didn't play a ton of snaps, but pretty much played as well as you could expect in the few snaps that he played. So that is really good to see because we've talked about him many times being a key piece of this defense.
Yeah,
Kind of because defense, especially defensive backs, it's kind of a position where you're only as strong as your weakest link.
yeah,
So
totally.
you so if you have that spot showed up, the nickel cornerbacks showed up, and you have Jalen Johnson on one side, and Tyreek Stevenson keeps playing as well as he's played, then you got three really solid corners, and
Yeah.
that opens up everything that helps the defensive line, that helps the linebackers, that helps the safeties, that helps everyone.
Yeah. It'd be nice to see Brisker get back out there. He's been kind of
Yeah.
padless for a while.
I feel like that's going kind of under the radar. I feel like no one's really talking about that Traquan Brisker's been out. But yeah, that is getting a little bit concerning at this point.
I think there'd probably be more worry if like Eberflus hasn't been so like stern about not expecting anybody to miss like legitimate playing time. He's been asked a couple
Yeah.
times, and every time he said like we don't expect anyone to miss. So I don't know if
Yeah.
that's just gamesmanship or if there's a flake of truth to it, but yeah, I'd like to see because he would be him and Eddie Jackson like you're expecting them to be your best players in that defensive
Mhm.
back room. So if Kyler Gordon and Tyreek Stevenson start to look good, man, that could be a really competitive unit.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. Hopefully he can. I don't think he practiced today, if I remember, but hopefully he can maybe at least get some reps in like week 3.
Yeah, some live reps.
Just some live reps before week 1. But yeah, they have said that they're not worried about that. But it just I hate to see young guy. I mean, I know he started all 17 games last year, so he has experience. He's has more experience than most second round picks have, but you'd still like to see him getting out there and getting more
Yeah.
experience.
It
But
was
we'll
nice
see.
to think that in a year where winning wasn't exactly paramount in the building, that Gordon and Brisker got as many reps as they did last year. Like that, I bet that's going to prove to be pretty valuable for us. And it's I guess that's how you probably do these rebuilds. You let these rookies get some
Yeah,
looks. You trade your best players like your Robert Quinns and give some people some looks and try and see who will actually be around for the long haul. And hopefully those two will
yeah.
be. Who else on defense do you think look good?
Another defensive end that I thought looked good was oops, that's the wrong one. Jalen Harris for an undrafted free agent from Arizona. I thought he looked really good too. Obviously, he's playing against like third string offensive tackles, but he did finish the sack, 4 pressures, converted speed to power there,
Yeah.
showed a little bend. I thought he
That's
looked pretty good. So I mean, I don't think he has any chance of making the roster as we just discussed. Like there's a
that's a
roster
rep right
crunch
there.
at the end. Yeah, he looked pretty good. So, but I think he's a practice squad guy for sure at this point. I really liked him. Um, one other guy also I shout out to Travis Bell. He only played a few snaps. This is the Bears like 6th round rookie, but he got a sack. He made a run stuff. Like it was pretty decent. So I was looking mostly at the offensive line, defensive line. So that's kind of where I was focused. But I thought he played pretty well
I
too.
thought he did
Again,
too.
against third stringers, but hey, this is a guy coming from Kennesaw State, 6th
Yeah.
round pick, 7th round pick, whatever he was. So the
Yeah.
fact that he was able to do anything was pretty good.
He's a guy that kind of like gives me like a Carter vibe from last year, where even though he was a 7th round pick, and it's probably going to be a pretty busy room in that defensive tackle spot, especially with some players that are going to be tweeners from that edge spot too.
Mhm.
He seems like a guy that just from the way the organization's talked about him and how he's looked in practice so far, and just like the tools that he has, I wouldn't be surprised if he's a guy that maybe not expected to contribute right away, but will be carried on the roster this year for sure.
I think I 100% agree. I think the Carter thing makes sense. Like he's their defensive version of that. They
Yeah,
like him and they're gonna either keep him on the roster all year or maybe he gets injured and he goes on IR for the year or something just to kind of give him a red shirt year. But yeah, I think they like him a lot. So I'm really excited to watch both those guys, Harris and Bell. I hope they get a few more snaps over some other guys um, in week 2,
Yeah.
just to kind of see what they have. If we're talking more about like more of the high profile rookies, Pickens, Zach Pickens, and Jervon Dexter, I thought they looked okay. I they didn't really do anything a lot for me. I know Zach Pickens got the sack, but that was more on a blown blocking
Right.
assignment by the tackle. I feel like he didn't pass off the stunt and just kind of
Yeah.
came unblocked. But I thought they played okay. I don't think they did really anything too special, but they didn't look out of place either. So I
Yeah.
think Jervon Dexter is so strong. Like he's so strong at the point of attack. He just plays so high. It's frustrating. Like I could see exactly why they drafted him. Like if we could just get this guy to play with like any sort of leverage, he's gonna be a monster. It's just like
Yeah.
it's just upsetting, not upsetting, but like disappointing that hasn't clicked yet because he's been
Yeah.
playing football for a long time.
It's like, all right, just get lower.
Just get lower. Yeah. So, but I thought they played okay.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, yeah, like I wouldn't say that they played great, but like it's almost like in the preseason, if you're really only playing bad if you're somebody that like shouldn't really have an issue of playing good in the preseason and doesn't look good at all.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's like it kind of comes out in the wash. You don't really know how hard like some of your starters are trying, but like maybe some of your second string people, like a rookie like a Dexter or a Pickens, those are the guys that maybe you'd want to see flash more. So while they didn't play bad as far as like preseason expectations go, you do want to see more from them.
Right. Especially since the Bears are going to be relying on those two guys a good
Totally.
amount this year.
Yeah.
So the fact that they weren't able to do a whole lot against second stringers is
Not great.
Is not great. But I will say in their defense is they played a lot of snaps and they played a lot. The Bears did not have a defensive line rotation like I think they will do during the year.
Like with Bill.
They just did units. Once the first unit came off, the second unit came on, and that second unit played. So those are 300-pound guys who were playing like 40 straight snaps. That's tough to do, and especially when you have the Bears scoring as quickly as they did, the offense wasn't on the field a lot.
I know.
So that defense was on the field a lot. So it would make sense if they were a little bit gassed, and they could be more effective if they played shorter series or had a rotation kind of going in, which
that's kind of what we thought was like.
Do.
It was kind of the things that we thought had plagued Dexter at Florida last year was that he was playing just an absurd amount of snaps, and it would be good to get into a rookie rotation in the NFL and keep your legs fresh, and then the Bears go out and fire him out for 40 plays straight.
Yeah. So that I don't think that is what they will do in the regular season. Let's see. Anyone else? Anyone else you want to talk about?
No, I don't think anyone played bad per se. Again, PJ Walker didn't have a good game, but it's like, it's like that Peyton Manning quote. It's like, if PJ Walker's playing, we don't really have much to worry about anymore anyway.
Right. Yeah, that's so true. Like it's nice, I guess, if your backup quarterback plays well, but you're right. If he's
what? Tyson Bagent?
Yeah, Bagent. I actually don't know, but yeah, he played pretty well against fourth stringers.
Yeah.
But hey,
like we said, we want our fourth stringers to be better than their fourth stringers.
Exactly. So I mean, yeah, he played well. So hopefully he gets a little bit more playing time in week 2 and week 3. He has no chance of making the roster, but
no, I was
watching a squad guy.
I was watching a Tim Jenkins video about him breaking down DJ Moore and Justin Fields, and he actually has a relationship with PJ Walker, and was saying that like he is just an awesome pro to have in the room, and like is extremely smart and is going to be awesome for Justin Fields. So I don't think there's any amount of playing that PJ Walker could do to not find himself on the 53-man roster. So like, you see him throw a bunch of interceptions and it's like, all right, man, go fire another. I could care less.
Yeah, right. And that's why Nathan Peterman's there too. Nathan Peterman's not there because they think he could be a starting quarterback. He's there because he's smart, knows the offense, can help. Been in the NFL, can help out Justin Fields. So yeah, exactly. I mean, I would much rather have our backup quarterback be that type of guy than Tyson Bagent, who may be a developmental quarterback, but most likely is going to be a backup at best. So
yeah,
I rather have the vet there for Justin Fields.
For sure. On to next week at the Colts next week, we practiced against them today.
Yeah.
We saw all the stats about how everybody did in practice, and it's kind of like
Yeah.
I love the Bears as much as the next guy. Hard for me to get excited about a tweet telling me that Justin Fields went 6 for 6 in a practice session. I get that it's
Yeah.
nice because these Colts want to win a little bit. It's a little bit more of a competitive practice session than a typical practice session. And some of the highlights, Mooney had a really nice play. DJ Moore, yeah, this one from Mooney, man,
For Mooney, yeah.
just a real clean
Great throw,
repetition
great
there.
catch.
Yep,
Yeah.
full. When he fired up about it, DJ Moore had another really nice one. Oh, this was
Yeah, that one's next after. That's December Webster.
yeah,
Beat this guy
Timber
deep, good
Webster.
throw by Justin Fields. All these throws were Justin Fields. And then this one is the one you're talking about with DJ Moore. Just
Ball.
great one-handed catch. Great
Yeah.
throw too. I mean that's one that like I don't know if he throws that in a game because it's
That's
just a
to
one-on-one
layer it over him
situation.
because like the
But yeah,
line is right on the defender.
right, puts it only where the receiver can get it. So great throw, great catch. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, like you said, there's not a whole lot you can take away from practice reps that you're not seeing live, and it's just like people tweeting out. But those were good throws. Those are good routes. But it's good to see our players getting open. By all accounts, it sounded like even from the Colts reporters that Justin Fields looked pretty good.
Nice.
So I almost I specifically tried to look out Colts reporters
Yeah.
because I think they'll be a little bit more objective. So it
You
was
know,
good to see. And apparently the Bears defense played well against Anthony Richardson. So it's good to see too.
yeah, I didn't see anything about Anthony Richardson now you mentioned it. I actually did see a note that Garner Minshew was kind of dicing it up a little bit. I guess he would have been out there with the twos either way, but yeah, hopefully I'm excited for Anthony Richardson, man. I think that he
Yeah,
makes the NFL fun. He got the full on nod as the starter, so
yeah.
that the Colts should be fun this year.
Honestly, if we're talking about guys we're excited to see in week 2 of the preseason, Anthony Richardson would absolutely be on my list.
Seriously.
I'm like that'll be fun to watch because he's just excited. It's fun to watch exciting players, and he's an exciting player. So
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be watching him.
No, by all accounts, the Bears look good, but they play that Colts team this week. I actually looked into it because I was like, I feel like now teams are doing these joint practices way, way more. Like I feel like I never
It
used to
does seem
hear
like
of the Bears doing this when I was like younger. Like maybe the Patriots were doing it, but I tried to look it up and I couldn't find any information about like these joint practices. Apparently, before they used to be like teams like the Giants and the Jets would do like midweek practices together during the season, just like iron
Oh,
sharpens
really?
iron thing. And then like in the early 2000s, they started doing it with preseason teams, and then it's just kind of caught on. But we play the Colts this weekend, and who are you looking out for in that game? Who do you want to see play well?
I want to see. Well, I mean, all the guys we talked about today, the guys we had the videos like Carter, Gibson, Harris, Bell, all those guys. Tyreek Stevenson is another good one. I'm watching the rookies. I'm watching. I
Yeah,
want to see Darnell Wright. I want to see. I hope he gets 15, 20 snaps. I want to see how he looks. I hope they also. I want to see them do a little bit more offensively. They did with the first team. They did a lot of screens, played it very safe.
yeah.
Drop back and pass twice,
I know.
just to see how you see what you're
Just
working
give
with.
me a
So I would like to
smash
see it.
concept.
Yeah, just something. I know you're trying to keep it vanilla for the preseason, which makes complete sense, but you can keep it vanilla and still throw the
Just
ball more
run a
than
slant.
2 yards. Yeah, right. So I want to see that. Dexter and Pickens. I want to see those guys make some plays, especially Dexter. I want to see him. I need you. I need you to make a play.
Yeah.
You're going to be a big part of this defense, and you need. I know I'm not expecting him to be an All Pro this year, but I expected him to contribute. So I want to see a little bit more there. And then the corners: Kyle Gordon, Tyreek Stevenson. I want to see just build on what you did.
I'd love to see, to that point, I was thinking this already. I would love to see Terrell Smith too have himself
Oh yeah,
a good game, because I like the idea of Terrell Smith and Tyreek Stevenson being in a battle. Not that I love the idea of our second round rookie being maybe on par with our seventh round rookie, but on the flip side, if they're both closer to what the second round rookie expectations could be, that could be a really fun battle. And we've heard so far that it's not too far off who the starter is. I think Tyreek Stevenson got the nod, maybe just because of draft position this week. But I think he'd be a guy I'd like to see have a good game. I'd like to
yeah.
see someone emerge at that DN spot, like we said, like Travis Gibson have himself another big game, or maybe Dom Robinson have himself a big game. But again, still instill some hope in that position that we were, probably looking at as the worst position on the team before we got Yannick Ngakoue. And even then, like it might, that it
Yeah,
still might be one of the worst
still
position
might be.
groups. So it'd be good to see another flash from them. And then, like you said, there's not a whole lot on like as far as like the secondary players on offense that I want to see when these games matter. The people we're going to need it from are, Darnell Mooney, DJ Moore, Claypool, Komet, Tunyon, Fields, and we won't
Yeah,
see meaningful reps from any of those guys really in the preseason. So on offense, just execution and maybe see a couple of like plays that look like real plays
yeah,
before we lose them
exactly.
until September.
Yeah, exactly. Just give us something. I think Terrell Smith is a really good one. He didn't play in week one; he was injured. But
Yeah.
I don't. I don't know. I think he's going to play in week two. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, because they have had
Look,
a little camp competition with Terrell Smith and Tyreek Stevenson. So I think Tyreek Stevenson's pulling away mostly because draft profile, but also Smith has missed a few practices now. So I
yeah.
really want to see him. That's a really good shout out to hopefully watch him play a little bit.
Yeah, Terrell Smith is back in pads today, which is good.
Okay, perfect. So
But
he'll definitely play.
yeah, like the coaching staff has really liked Terrell Smith from the get go, and it seems like from all indications in camp that he's flashed and that he's had
Mhm.
some picks and he's had some there's been some days where he started there over Tyreek Stevenson, so they're
Mhm.
definitely like it's definitely apparent to them that there's a little competition, maybe even being like constructed between them, but it can't be bad and like. What's our defensive coordinator?
Williams,
Alan Williams. When
right?
when they were coming back and putting the pads on for the first time, he got asked who he was excited to see put pads on and like actually compete. He first person he said like didn't think about it said Terrell Smith. So there's probably
Mhm.
something there, and if that defensive back room can find some like competition and maybe some depth from something that we thought was going to be maybe a pretty thin room, and we're wondering if we were even going to have enough quality starters at all. Like that would be a really good thing.
Yeah, for sure. One other guy we didn't talk about, but apparently Roshan Johnson, running back, rookie running back, he had a good run against in week one. But I saw a tweet from I think it was Courtney Cronin, who said that he was getting a few more reps with the ones this week. So I want to see him. He played mostly with like the third stringers. Maybe he can get at least some reps with the second team offensive line. Um, See what he can do, maybe, and hopefully he pushes some guys there. So that's another guy to kind of look out for.
Yeah, if anything, that just makes you realize that probably that first depth chart we saw might have just been, at very worst, like trying to light a fire under some people because
Yeah.
Roshan was fifth running back on that list when that came
Well,
out, and he had
yeah.
a couple of fumbles that week. Maybe they're just trying to light
Well,
a fire under him.
that was interesting because it came out he was fifth, and then like a half hour later they put him at third. They like issued like a new one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that
Interesting.
was weird. I don't
So
that
he
was,
was third
but that
behind Dante Foreman then.
yeah, it was Herbert, Foreman,
Yeah,
Johnson. Yeah, that was
but even
that was
then,
the
for
order.
him to go from what an ascension.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Well, I wonder what he did in that half hour. Jeez.
So you have to
Uh,
think that if he's getting some reps with the ones, and maybe Travis Gibson probably
yeah,
wasn't as far down in public opinion as we thought. But yeah,
yeah.
Terrell Smith, he was back in pads today. It looks like so he would be one that
Perfect.
he looks like they talk about him like he's got a pretty good dog in him too. So at cornerback, you want to see that. So I'd like to see him make some plays.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a really good one because I think besides like the other cornerbacks that played, I don't think there's really anyone outside of the top guys who are really that intriguing at all. Just kind of some camp bodies, but Terrell
Yeah,
Smith would definitely bring some more intrigue to that position. Something we'll
yeah.
definitely have to look out for this week.
Roshan Johnson's a good choice too because
Yeah,
I was kind of like rattling off earlier all those people that we know would be locks for starters and not even really thinking about it. Obviously, I didn't say
yeah,
Phil Herbert because we've talked about it before, but Dante Foreman is a great backup, and Khalil Herbert has had his issues staying on the field because of his third down issues, and on top of that, Roshan Johnson, like we've said, that there's a chance by the middle of the season he could be the starter here, and him getting
yeah.
those reps with the ones and his reps in the first preseason game looked good, and there probably are some people on offense like a Tyler Scott or a Roshan Johnson that are still worth watching in this preseason for sure.
Mhm. Yeah, I think Tyler Scott's another good one. I'd be he had a one reception, but then fumbled immediately. But besides that, didn't do anything. So
Yeah.
for a guy who in all the training camp has been kind of a standout and
Yep.
been getting a lot of positive press there,
Reviews.
positive reviews. Yeah, it'd be nice to see him catch a couple balls. Um, he didn't play a lot in the week one. It was just interesting.
Yeah.
Um, he played a little bit more than like the starters did, but not a whole lot more. So I wonder if he'll maybe get a few more reps this week. That'd be nice to see him kind of make a few plays.
Yeah, you have to wonder if maybe, he's a guy that's already kind of like cemented himself in like a third or fourth, a
Yeah,
fourth or fifth spot.
yeah. I mean that's how I took it when I saw him not play too much. That he already has a spot locked up, and they don't really need to see a lot more. But still want to see a couple of receptions.
Do you know if we'll get, put you on the spot here, 'cause I definitely don't know. Do you know if and when we'll get our next, depth chart iteration?
I don't know. I was actually just thinking about that as we were talking about the depth chart. I thought they did one like every week, but we're already on Wednesday. I don't know if they're
Yeah.
gonna release one this week.
It
I
looks
don't
like
know.
we
Maybe it's every
got
other week.
it looks like we got our last one 8 days ago. So yeah, it could just be maybe we
So
have
maybe
a
not this
few.
week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe after like first cut downs or
Yeah.
something.
No, but so I
Oh, they
think
changed that,
yeah,
right?
how crazy is it now?
I forgot. Yeah, they everything is just at the end of the year, end of the preseason, right?
From 90 to 53 in like a day. Not a day, but like a
Right.
day. That is a
Yeah.
bloodbath, man.
That is about that. That is gonna be. I wonder. Yeah, that's gonna be fun to not fun, I guess, because you're watching people like lose their jobs, but it's gonna be fucking crazy to just like be able to have to like follow all that and keep track of who's still on the team.
Especially as a Bears fan.
Yeah,
Because as soon as all those cuts happen, Bears get first pick of the litter. Like Bears will have first
true.
waiver for every person that hits the wire. So you like not only do we have to be looking about 37 players for the Bears to cut, we got to be looking at all the best players getting cut around the league.
Yeah,
And go Bears, Bears.
yeah, yeah. There's gonna be so many Bears question mark
Oh,
tweets.
I
Yeah,
know.
yeah. They've
It'll
already
be
claimed.
good.
I mean, they already claimed one guy, Michael Walker,
Yeah, I saw that.
from the Falcons, so
He's
another
got fun tape.
linebacker there. So yeah, he has starting experience. So it was kind of a surprise cut from it was the Falcons, right?
Yeah.
Falcons. Yeah, surprise cut by the Falcons. So it
Yeah,
seemed
and
like Falcons fans were kind of questioning why he was released. So it's always good to get a guy like that.
it was a fun. It seemed like a funny ad for the Bears too, because it's one of the deepest rooms that we have. But
Yeah,
he
they
fits
keep they.
he fits the mold completely for polls, like cheap, young, and
Mhm.
athletic, and he has starting experience. It's almost just like you don't turn away like a good person just because you don't turn away a good player just because you have good players.
Right. Linebackers, like they've been working out so many linebackers and like constantly they released a guy and then signed another guy and then they're
I
constantly
know,
over just that, but like just linebackers. They've
I
worked
know
out
it is.
about 50 linebackers. And
You have to
like
wonder
you
if maybe
said,
there's
for a
like
deep position,
some analytics on that where like there are people
maybe.
in the room telling them, hey, like this is a position that you'd be surprised how frequently you go through them. You need to load up.
Could be. Yeah, could be.
But yeah, I don't know if there's been any other moves in that, but it's something that in the next like couple of weeks, the Bears should have their pick of the litter when these cuts come. And it's fun that the Bears get that first waiver on the very first year when they go from 90 to 53 in a day, because
Yeah.
it's like the last cut day is usually a pretty big cut day, like anyway, and that's only like 10 cuts or so.
Right. And you can kind of have an idea. I'm sure they would like in previous years go through kind of scenarios like, okay, who do we reasonably think is going to be available?
I
I guess
know,
you could still do it now, but it's just much more work because
I know.
yeah, but so it'll be interesting.
This is probably the first time in my life that like, well, maybe not, just because you always underestimate just how this time of year you start to really ramp your fandom up. But like, I could probably name you 70 Bears right now, which is just absurd.
Yeah, yeah. When I went to the preseason, not preseason, the training camp practice the other day, they give you like a sheet of paper with all the like the names and numbers, and I was like, man, I should, and it was like some random guy. I was like, I shouldn't know who that guy is.
I know.
I mean, there were still guys on there where I was like, who the hell was that? And I had to like reference it. But
It's so funny you say
it's
that.
crazy.
My parents went to training camp like 2 years ago, and they brought back like the same thing, that piece of paper that had the whole thing on it. And I had the exact same thought when I was reading through it. And I was like, I have no business knowing. That was like one of the times when we had like 4 kickers, and I was like, I've learned about all these guys. I've heard about all the funny hijinks they get up to. Yeah, it's funny.
I mean, yeah, sports fandom is crazy. There's no like we're all idiots.
I know,
but it's fun. So
it's like others. You know what's funny too is like other sports. It's like I understand how much I like it because I love the sport, and I love football, and like I watch football if it wasn't the Bears, but it's just like I have nothing else like that is so like senseless than my love for the Bears.
Yeah, 100% same.
No other fandom, I suppose. I mean, like I like other teams, but nothing. There's nothing like the orange and blue, man. It's crazy. I don't know why.
For sure. I mean, yeah, it's something about them. I mean, the Bears fans are crazy in the best possible way.
Well,
it's the way it is.
Two more preseason games.
Yep.
And we're back.
1 month? Are we're like less than a month.
We're way less than a month. I think today we're Devin Hester days away.
23 days away. All right. Well,
that's crazy.
That's awesome.
I also saw that apparently these joint practices are a bit of a function of them going down to the 3 preseason games as opposed to 4, because it's kind of like live reps, slightly live reps. So teams are just trying to take advantage of it that way.
Yeah, I wonder if that eventually, because I know they want to go to 18 games and then 2 preseason games. I wonder if eventually preseasons, there are going to be no preseason games. It's just going to be a bunch of joint practices, maybe.
Interesting. Man, the Dolphins, the 72 Dolphins probably love every time they add a game to the season.
Yeah. Mercury Morris, every time they add a game, is popping some champagne. Like,
yeah.
They're never going to catch us.
18-0. Yeah. I don't know if I like it, but at this point, they've already moved past 16. 16 felt so pure. They already moved past it. So if it's not 17, if it's 17, might as well be 18. Whatever.
Yeah,
that's such a long season, though.
I mean, as a fan, I would love it because it's more football. But man, as a player, that's got to be tough.
Yeah, I went 9-9 this season.
That sounds so weird. I'm still not adjusted to 17 games. I'm still gonna say 8-8 and 9-7 for the next 10 years easily.
Yeah, going 9-8 is crazy right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, anything else?
All right. No, I think that's it. One last thing I wanted to mention this at the beginning, but this podcast was brought to you by 366 Golf. They are the sponsor of CFC, so we really appreciate them. Use promo code CFC at checkout for a 15% discount on all apparel. I'll put the link in the comments, the description as well, so you have that. But thanks for CFC.
If you get that shirt, you'll be as handsome as that guy, guaranteed.
Yes,
so.
You will look exactly like this. Your hairline will get better. Your jawline will get more defined.
Pull it over your head, and it'll just shave it into your face.
Exactly. All right. Thanks everyone for listening. We'll talk to everyone next week. Bear down.
Bear down.